Available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. I got a chance to take a look at the trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine, and I have to say that this trailer is one of the best trailers I've seen for an MCU movie since Captain America Civil War. Now, Captain America Civil War's trailer was quite compelling, and the trailer for Wolverine and Deadpool is just as compelling, because with Wolverine and Deadpool, this trailer basically feels a lot like the old MCU movies that we got from 2008's Iron Man to Captain America Civil War, and this movie really captures that energy and fun that we got in the original 2008 Iron Man. And it's clear that from what I've seen in the trailer, we got a great transition from Deadpool from being a part of the Fox X-verse to being a part of the MCU, and the transition is nice and smooth and flows organically as this character who was a part of the Fox X-verse comes over to the MCU, and the way they try to bring him in is looking like it's solidly executed. But the only issue I have is with the whole alternate reality thing. Now, when it comes to this Deadpool movie, again, we've got Deadpool coming from his world to the MCU through Loki's TVA, and we also are getting a new Wolverine who's coming from another world, and that all of that is really explained very nicely in the trailer, but it could be quite cumbersome because the whole multiverse saga has been a hot mess. And the entire multiverse saga has been a complete disaster, mainly because the multiverse saga had issues as related to its structure after Avengers Endgame, because they basically took all the Avengers and basically the ones we cared about, like Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America, and retired those characters. But what happened that was even worse was the focus of Phase 4, and Phase 5, Phase 5, on these ancillary characters that really were not about building up a storyline that was on the level of the Infinity Saga. No, what we got from the Phase 4, Phase 4, and Phase 5, Phase 5, was a bunch of cumbersome stories that were thrown together as part of the Disney Plus part of the MCU, and some movies that really did not catch on, like Thor, Love and Blunder, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Mediocrity, not to mention that dreadful She-Hulk series. We really didn't get anything coming together with an organic story, and that's what basically led to the MCU going into a state of decline that just continues to fall as related to movies like the Marvels failing at the box office, failing to create a compelling story, which is something that Wolverine and Deadpool have over the previous MCU movies. There is an interesting story here as related to Wolverine and Deadpool, and the humor really seems a bit more balanced than the forced, awkward humor that they've been throwing in MCU movies. So the concept is there, and the execution is solid, and it needed to be solid because when we're introducing one of the most popular characters in Marvel to the world again in the MCU, we've got Hugh Jackman's Wolverine coming into the MCU. You need to go out here and make a strong first impression on the audience, and that's what's done in this trailer, where we actually finally get to see Wolverine in his iconic yellow and blue costume. That was one of the highlights of this whole trailer, was getting to see Wolverine finally in his costume, and finally getting to see Wolverine be a part of the MCU. Now, I'm not a fan of how awkward this was, because I believe this could have been done organically in the MCU by saying that the X-Men of the MCU were a completely different team, and while the Avengers were out here fighting Thanos, they were dealing with mutant menaces. I believe that could have been done organically and fitting them into the MCU, but Kevin Feige wants to do his own thing, and he wants to use the multiverse saga to introduce the Wolverine and the X-Men into the MCU. but I'm just not a fan of this whole alternate reality thing, because the whole multiverse saga, as I see it, is a complete mess, because if you don't have Kang the Conqueror to run the whole multiverse, it becomes a mess. And the whole situation with Jonathan Majors, as related to him having that whole incident, basically, Alvin Bragg wound up destroying the whole prospect of Kang the Conqueror being in the MCU. But the whole problem is that it made a mess, but Deadpool and Wolverine may be the thing that gives a lot of people, opens up their minds to get a second chance at looking at the MCU once again, after having to sit through years of bad movies from 2019 to 2024. I mean, this film may give people an ability to say they want to take a second chance on the MCU. I mean, this movie looks like it's promising, looks like it's okay. I mean, while I have my issues with a little bit of the structure of the story, I feel it could flow a bit more organically, but as related to the writing. But the whole thing is, this looks like a step in the right direction for the overall Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Deadpool and Wolverine will be a great addition to all of the Deadpool movies, which have always been a lot of fun. Now, I wish there would be a chance for us to see Colossus again, because he was the fun part of Deadpool 2, and I believe he was in the first Deadpool. I mean, I would love to see Colossus come in here, and I would also like to see Domino and Cable. I mean, these are all characters that are key to Deadpool's world, and I would love to see Deadpool basically be that hero that was similar to Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, and possibly being the guy who could pick up the baton and be the guide to us into entering the mutant part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or Hugh Jackman coming on and being Wolverine and becoming a part of that Marvel Cinematic Universe that shows us the X-Men and opens up a gateway to the X-Men. There's a lot of possibilities here as related to Deadpool and Wolverine really reviving the MCU, but it's all about the execution of concept, and I believe the Ryan Reynolds and the Deadpool team have a good ability to have the vision to bring back the MCU. Now, my only complaint is that I wish that the Avengers would have lived, because I would have loved to have seen Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, Thor, and the Hulk be able to meet up with the X-Men and team up for one big epic movie, not the Secret Wars. Because to me, the Secret Wars is kind of corny, and all the alternate reality stuff is kind of corny. I would love to see these characters come together organically in a full universe where we can see all these characters come together and see all these characters in one really great story. That's what I would have wanted to see. I mean, an X-Men Avengers team up, or an X-Men Avengers and Fantastic Four coming together. I mean, I believe that if the universe had been better structured, we would have been able to have that big world of great characters. And I'm hoping that this whole movie, Wolverine and Deadpool, basically gets the MCU back on track. Now, I'm not a fan of too many superhero movies. I want to see more movies with regular people, but I know that there's a need for this kind of movie to perform at the box office. And from what I've seen in the trailer, this looks like a movie that could be a billion-dollar blockbuster for Marvel Studios, and could possibly be the film that could rekindle interest in the MCU. That's what I see on screen with the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, and this is one that I'm going to have to wait for streaming, because here in the Bronx we only got one theater, and these New York City subways are dangerous, so I would love to go to the theater to go see this one, like Transformers 1, but I gotta wait for streaming. But I recommend, again, if you're living in other parts of the country, this may be the movie of the year, because what's looking like this on this trailer looks like a winner, and looks like one of the best Marvel Cinematic Universe movies since 2008's Iron Man. Now, if you want to pick up my first full comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, you can find that comic on Lulu.com right now by clicking the link in the description box, and you can pick up a paper copy for the same price as the 2022 starter. Excuse me. And if you want to pick up some of my action-packed fantasy fiction in the SJS Direct universe, you can find the books of the ISIS series that are mentioned in the ads before this video, the Esteem series, and the John Haynes series the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, my vampire novel Eternal Night, my black sorority novel The 2008's, and my business model Recipe for Success. You can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, Draft Digital, Walmart, and Target. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Illuminati, the man who rules the world, takes on the head of the global elite in this all-new action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Illuminati in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Coming to paperback and e-readers, Esteem Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this all-new Esteem series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in digital format at Amazon.com, Google Play, Draft Digital, and other digital booksellers, or pick up your paperback copy on May 24th. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.